Every night before I went to sleep, Mummy would come into my room and sit at my feet with my sister. She would read us one of my favorite stories, usually from my book of nursery rhymes. After she was finished, she would kiss me on the forehead, scoop up my sister, and turn the big light off. I had never really been afraid of the dark because I had my nightlight. It was the kind that gradually changed color, from blue to green and back. Darkness had always intrigued me, something I'd never been used to, had heard terrible stories about, but had never really had to experience on my own. True darkness, completely pitch black, is hard to get. Lights from the street outside, another room, anything breaks complete blackness. The night I helped Daddy give my sister a bath, it was black everywhere. A blackout, Mummy had said. It happened sometimes, she'd said, and the whole street might not have power for hours. I walked carefully into my bedroom, trying not to bump into anything in the darkness. My hands found their way along the wall, around to the other side of the room, to the window seat. The curtains swung ominously from side to side in the darkness, closing behind me as I crawled up onto the shelf. If I stood on my knees, I was just tall enough to see out of the window. My street is a fairly quiet, somewhere in a small and typically suburban neighborhood. There's a streetlight directly opposite my window, and tonight it was sending an orangey glow into my window as normal. Maybe streetlights didn't go out in blackouts. But as I looked around, I saw other lights, a porch light, a couple of houses across the street, cracks of light shining through drawn curtains. I didn't know why our house was the only one without lights. But as I sat there on the window seat, slowly rocking back and forth deep in thought, I heard the door open with a barely audible crack. I looked through the crack in the curtains as a tiny, throbbing sphere of light floated towards me through the darkness. I drew in a shaky breath. It seemed to catch in my throat and provide me no relief. But I relaxed when I saw Mummy's face, softly illuminated by the candle she was holding. With a single graceful motion, she swept back one of the curtains, sitting down beside me on the sill, one foot underneath her, one hanging down. I'd heard my parents talking softly earlier that evening. Gone to bed, not feeling well, might just check on her, wake her in the morning. I silently begged Mummy to go and check on her, to just give her a kiss on the forehead, feel how cold it felt against her lips. But she didn't go in. I just hoped the morning wouldn't be too late. Now I wanted more than anything to cry. Mummy always said to be brave, even when you're scared. I crawled into her lap, arranging myself to be as small as possible for a while, and she held me. After several minutes, she stood up, still holding me in one arm, the candle in the other. She lay me down on my bed and picked up my book, laying beside me. Drawing the covers up around both of us, she opened the book to my favorite story, Snow White. As she read, my eyelids getting heavier, I thought about princesses. If only I could be a princess. Princesses always lived happily ever after. Mummy finished the story and put down the open book on the table beside my bed, next to the candle. I don't know how long we lay there, but soon we were both asleep. It was daytime. Daddy carried my sister over to the tree me and Mummy were sitting underneath. The grass was very green. It must have just rained. My sister wasn't in a blanket. She was laughing, her toothy smile infecting all of us. We were happy. I looked around, taking everything in, the intense blue of the sky, the fluffy white clouds that danced along it, the gnarled bark of the tree I was leaning against. An apple tree. I searched each branch, looking at the beautiful red apples, ripe and perfect. Several had fallen onto the ground, rot threatening them from the inside out. I looked up at Mummy, smiling. Then to Daddy. But he wasn't smiling anymore. He was angry. Clouds rolled into the sky, not white, fluffy ones, but dark storm clouds. But they didn't stop at the sky. When it was full, they came down, closer and closer, like smog, like smoke. Something was pulling me. Something was lifting me. I couldn't see anything in the smoke. I couldn't breathe. My heart was thumping in my chest as I realized the horrible scene had just been a dream. But my first breath in destroyed the peace I was trying to create. My lungs were thick with choking blackness. I opened my eyes, the darkness I expected replaced with an intense light. Fire. Daddy was lifting me through the smoke. I grabbed tightly onto Mummy's arm. She didn't stir. I screamed to her, again and again, my throat becoming raw from the smoke, but to no avail. Daddy broke my hold on her arm and began to walk calmly out of my room, shutting the door behind him. There was smoke here, a little bit of fire licking at the carpet under the door. As Daddy walked down the hallway, almost in slow motion, my eyes darted to the other door across the hallway from mine. My sister. As Daddy walked out of the back door, my screams began to carry off into the night. I couldn't stop looking down the corridor, the orange flames, the black smoke engulfing the rest of the house. Sirens faintly whistled in the distance. Or was it just my ears ringing? Either way, they had come too late.